If every new client project starts with scattered emails, missing files, delayed invoices, and last-minute questions, your onboarding process is probably the problem. And that matters more than most people think. Because a messy start doesn't just waste time. It creates confusion, slows down the project, and makes your business feel less professional than it actually is. A good client onboarding workflow does the opposite. It helps clients feel confident, saves you hours of admin, and makes every project start in a clear, organized way.
Yes,
In this video, I'll show you exactly how to build a client onboarding workflow step by step, so you can stop rebuilding the process every time someone says yes. Onboarding sets the tone for the entire client relationship. It's the first real experience a client has after they decide to work with you. And if that experience feels disorganized, clients start the project unsure about what happens next. The good news is, this usually isn't a service problem. Most freelancers and small business owners are good at the actual work. The issue is that they never turned their repeated onboarding steps into a system. That's what a workflow fixes. A workflow means every client gets the same clear experience without you having to remember every step, rewrite the same emails, or chase the same information over and over again. It saves time, reduces confusion, and makes your business look more professional from day one. Core point 1. Define the onboarding outcome first. The first step is to define what successfully onboarded actually means for your business. Start with the destination, not the tool. Before you think about Notion, ClickUp, Dubsado, or automations, get clear on the end result. Ask yourself, when is a client officially ready for work to begin? In most cases, that means a few specific things have happened. The contract is signed, the invoice or deposit is paid, the intake form is completed, any files, logins, or brand assets are shared. The kickoff call is booked, and the project is added to your workspace. That's your outcome. Your onboarding workflow should move the client from, yes, let's work together, to ready to start, with zero ambiguity. For example, if you're a freelance web designer, a client might be fully onboarded once they've signed the agreement, paid the deposit, completed the website questionnaire, shared their branding and copy, and booked the kickoff call. Once you know the outcome, the rest of the workflow becomes much easier to build. Core point 2. Map the onboarding steps in order. 2, 3, 20. Now take that outcome and map the steps in the exact order they need to happen. This is where you turn a vague process into a real sequence. A simple onboarding flow usually looks something like this. First, the client signs the proposal or says yes. Then you send the contract. Next, you send the invoice or deposit request. After payment, you send the welcome email. Then you send the intake form or questionnaire. You collect files, logins, or brand assets. You create the project folder and internal task. The client books the kickoff call. And finally, you confirm the next steps and timeline. At every stage, your workflow should answer one question: what needs to happen next? If a step happens every time, it belongs in the workflow. A simple way to organize this is in 3 phases. Phase 1 is admin, contract, invoice, payment. Phase 2 is information gathering, forms, assets, access. Phase 3 is kickoff, scheduling, timeline, project start. Let's use a copywriter as an example. Their onboarding might include contract and deposit first, then a brand questionnaire, then collecting offer details and reference materials, then creating the client workspace, and finally, scheduling a strategy call. The important thing is not making it fancy. The important thing is putting the steps in the right order, so nothing gets missed. Core point 3. Create the assets and templates once. Once the steps are mapped, the next job is to create the assets that support each step. This is where a lot of workflows break down. People make a checklist, but every task still depends on writing something from scratch, finding the right link, or remembering what to send. That's not really a system, that's just a list. Templates are what turn a process into a system. For most onboarding workflows, you'll want a few key assets ready to go. A welcome email template, a contract template, an invoice template, an intake form, a kickoff call agenda, a shared folder structure, an internal checklist, or SOP, and if you want, a simple client portal or onboarding page. Your welcome email is especially important because it sets expectations early. It should thank the client, explain what happens next, include links to the invoice, form, scheduler, or folder, and give a clear timeline and point of contact. On the internal side, your checklist might include things like creating the project folder, duplicating the project template, assigning due dates, logging client details, and confirming that payment was received. A good rule here is simple. If it repeats, template it. That one habit alone can save you a huge amount of time. Core point 4. Add automations and triggers. Once your process and templates are in place, you can start adding automation. But keep this simple. You do not need a giant tech stack, and you do not need to automate everything on day one. The goal is to automate the handoffs, not the relationship. Here are a few good beginner automations. When a proposal is accepted, send the contract. When the contract is signed, send the invoice. When the invoice is paid, send the welcome email. When the intake form is submitted, create the project task. When the client books the kickoff call, notify you, and update the project status. That's already enough to remove a lot of admin work. You can build this with tools like Honeybook, Dubsado, or Bonsai if you want an all-in-one setup. Or you can keep it simple with tools you may already use, like Notion, ClickUp, Trello, Google Forms, Typeform, Calendly, Stripe, and Zapier or Make. The key is to start with your most repetitive tasks. If you already understand one tool, use that first. Don't create a complicated system that only works when everything is connected perfectly. Even a very basic setup with one form, one scheduler, and a few email templates can save hours and make your onboarding feel much smoother. Simple is better than overbuilt. Number, core point 5. Test it with one client and refine it. Now comes the part that most people skip. Test the workflow with one real client. Your first version does not need to be perfect, it just needs to be usable. Run someone through the process, then review what happened. Where did the client get confused? Which steps caused delays? Which email needed better wording? What information was missing? And what did you still have to do manually? That feedback is what helps you improve the system. A working 80% system is better than a perfect workflow that never gets finished. After the test, ask a few simple questions. Did the client know what to do next? Did you repeat yourself anywhere? Did anything get delayed because of missing information? Which step could be templated better? And which part should become a standard operating procedure? Build version 1, use it, notice the friction, then improve it. That's how good systems are actually created. If you want to keep this simple, remember this formula. Trigger, admin, information, kickoff, confirmation. Trigger, the client says yes. Admin, contract and payment. Information, forms, files, and access. Kickoff, scheduling and setup. Confirmation, timeline, next steps, and project start. That's the whole structure. So to recap, define what onboarded means. List the steps in order. Create templates for every repeated action. Automate the obvious handoffs, then test and improve. A good client onboarding workflow doesn't need to be fancy. It just needs to be clear, repeatable, and easy for both you and your client. If you want, I can also make a step-by-step version of this workflow in Notion, ClickUp, or Google Sheets. If that would be useful, comment workflow below. And if this video helped, subscribe for more practical videos on systems, automation, and smoother client operations for freelancers and small business owners. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. If you want, I can also turn this into 1. A voiceover script with scene-by-scene visual directions. 2. A YouTube script formatted for teleprompter use. Or 3. A Notion-style workflow template based on the same video.